Hello, beautiful people. We are back with another update for you. You are welcome to News Trend. Welcome to News Trend.
I'm sure you must have read too where he was going when that happened. He was going for a fun thing, not as if he just needed to pull off.
Truth is going through a lot.
Like that.
Very dark man in the do man.
I never believed the day would come where I would sit here to share my story.
And you know how I do it. I don't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I am here with my able co-host and guest. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you for
and
having
thank
me
you for
again.
always obliging us.
Thank you so much for also having me on your program.
Okay, so today, what we are discussing is very controversial, and I'm very particular about it, but you know, we are not talking about me. We are talking about the comments. Would I even call it a comment? I think it was a whole teaching. And this is concerning Pastor Daniel Olukoya of Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries. He said that your life, not our lives, but he said somebody's life, a man's life will be upside down if he disvirgins a woman and does not marry her. That is deep. So what do you say about that?
Well, I think it should have been both ways. If a lady disvirgins a man too. That doesn't. But
it's the man that is in question now, because it's men. It's just like we are saying, it's a man's world now. So
you can't say it's a man's world. Women too disvirgin.
Yes, exactly.
Don't
women
forget
disvirgin.
about that.
I thought about that as well, but it's like,
you know,
when the woman disvirgins a man, it doesn't matter, I guess.
Why will it not matter?
Because
women too disvirgin men. But speaking frankly, I quite understand
his position
where Dr. Olukoya is coming from. It's a Bible principle. It's a biblical principle of the covenant that runs with marriage. Very sound and on point. Because that's what the Bible says. But a lot of things have happened now in this in our present day living that has rubbished, though it does not remove from the position of God what we do. It's rubbished it completely. Because even the church must take part of the blame for it. I must share in it. Morals gone with the wind. A lot of young people, they want to experiment with sex. They want to do things that adults are doing. That's why you see them doing so many things that are not supposed to be done, including truth and dare. We are not going there. Those are not normal games. Because we have graduated from the boju from the 10 to truth and dare. Where before now, we had communal living. You can watch my child, I can watch your child. We all gather in the evenings. We play different night games. There are people who tell you stories. Parents want to know where their children are by 6 p.m. We've lost all of that. So, a lot of factors. Some parents leave home as early as 5 a.m. and they don't return until 10, 11 p.m. And they are ready again to hit the road the following day. Some don't even come back home in 1 week. In Lagos especially,
yes,
those who live on the mainland, when some fathers live on Monday morning. They only come back on Friday night because it doesn't make economic sense shortly. So a lot of things have gone wrong with the family and then affecting the values. Because a child who does not have control is equal to a loose cannon. And you cannot indeed take away from anything from the roles parents are supposed to play in the lives of children. Because they are their guardians. They watch over them and keep things under control. But like I said, so many factors that we can't, especially economic. Even some parents, when their girls get to a certain age, they encourage them to go and bring money. So they don't mind if they have sex with them. As far as they are concerned, the most important thing is the money. So economic part of it is there. Then we have the morality. We have the peer pressure. So many things have gone wrong. But like I said, that still does not take away from the word of God. It doesn't take an inch away from it. It stands the way it is. It does not mean that the fact that we do it doesn't make it right. The fact that we already see it as something that is normal does not mean it is normal. It only speaks volume to so many things around it.
Okay,
like I said, coming back to the church itself, we've seen those other factors that I spoke about getting into the church to affect the very fabric of what Christianity should be.
Okay.
For instance, a lot of people believe, and erroneously so too, that after I've enjoyed myself in the world, male and female, when I want to get married, the church is the place I should run to. So a lot of things are built on lies, deceit, half-truths. That when marriages are even done in churches, a lot of things become known after the marriage.
Yes.
And I have a few examples that I have I'm privy to as first-hand information bearer. I'll cite two. In this our Lagos, a husband found out on the night of the marriage that the wife had cancer and the two breasts had been removed. That lady never told him that this is what you are coming to do.
Okay. You see?
This is what you are, and that was in the church. They did all they should do. The pastor spoke with them, what they call counseling and all the rest. But the lady did not mention it until when the other, what happened? I'm waiting for us to get married. Why?
But you know that if they had checked it out before they got married, they would have, the man would probably have found out, because this is a life built on deceit.
Exactly.
We just like to, I'm sorry to cut you, but you know, I feel like in this part of the world, we just like to think that, okay, sex is the ultimate sin. What about what she did? That's deceit. That's lies. That's in fact, even worse than
the foundation
anything
of the relationship is crumbled.
It's crumbled. Because from my findings, you know, I did a bit of digging, and then I found out that, you know, in biblical times, there was nothing wrong with you sleeping or having sex with someone as long as it would lead to marriage. Which means that if you are both agreed that, okay, we are getting married, yes, you can. You know, you can't have sex, you know, because you are going to get married anyway. And so the reason why they were just like, oh, don't do this or don't do that was just for customs. It was just some customs that now made it like, okay, well, no, you can't do it unless you get married. But there was no offense. It was not seen as a sin, and there was no, you know, it was not punishable by anything then if you have sex before you get married to someone, as long as you get married to that person. So now that, you know, custom has now overruled everything and tradition, because, of course, we are trying to check, you know, check our children, check people so that people don't go haywire, so that so people just don't go overboard and say, okay, since there's no rule, because they say where there's no rule, there's no, you know, everybody can behave anyhow. So instead of allowing people to like go here, jump here, so we now make it like, you cannot. But see, in this case, that's when things like this happen. See, in this case now, they did not have sex. I'm sure maybe they didn't work, they didn't kiss, they don't even know anything. And on the day of the marriage, when you're supposed to consummate, you now find out that this is not who I thought.
This was not even what I bargained for.
This is not what.
See what I ordered. See what
I got. So who is the sinner here now?
Well, I won't be able to answer who is the sinner, because one thing is certain: in most of these deceit marriages, you find out most of them had gone far. They have tested, they have done, but now say, okay, because we want to get married, so let's do it between ourselves.
Exactly.
That's why I said the deceit is entering into the church. You find somebody who has enjoyed life, don't know, and then, okay, now I need to get married. Let me go and look for a sister, or go and look for a brother.
Yes, brother.
And
as you are looking for a sister, the brother, as the man is looking for a sister, and let me go and find one good girl in the church. The girl too is looking like, well, I've enjoyed our life enough. Let me come into the church too and be doing like wife.
We are now doing Sister Act. Exactly. I'm sure you watched that film.
Sister, yes, now. So
where the lady was not meant for the convent, but she ended up there, and she had to leave eventually. Let me share the second one with you. A friend. All of a sudden, a family friend indeed, not just my own friend. She disappeared from the radar. For about 5-7 years, we were looking for her.
Wow.
And then one day, she suddenly called me and said, "Doctor, I have to see you." I said, "Who is this?" She had changed her number. "It's me now." I mentioned that name. I said, "Okay. What's happening?" "I'm on my way to Ibadan." I said, "When you're on your way back, this is my address. Stop by." He said, "Even it's not today I want to see, I want you to come on a particular day." I think it was on the Sunday she wanted me to come. So I drove there with my wife. It was her birthday. And I asked, she said she's celebrating her return to life. Why? She married a brother.
Brother?
Yes, because they didn't want to have sex. They were always, they do sleep on the same bed, but one will face one direction, the head on this side, the other the head on this side. So, and
I'm thinking, he's a good brother. He's
yes,
a
very
holy.
Very holy brother. Holy brother. No sex. Marriage came. Marriage night, let's consummate. Why are we in a hurry?
Voila.
And then brother went to his station, sister to our own station. 1 year
without
after,
consummation.
Let us consummate. No, we need to plan our family.
Another
year gone by. Let us consummate. No. Start using pills to prevent pregnancy, so that when I roll away, when I jump in, we will be safe. Okay, sister started consuming.
How do you even start consuming pills without even consummating, without even checking the thing out first?
5 years after.
You see?
My friend had become bloated because
she was taking
pills.
But that's funny. That's some form of brainwashing.
That's to tell you. It's naivety, because she wasn't used
so much
to this. Yes, she's a calm person. Even when you speak with her, you know that this person is not worldly wise when it comes to those things, but book wise, give it to her. First class graduates, highly intelligent. So, what was she celebrating? Freedom, because they discovered that the guy was impotent. Look for solution.
That's just
He doesn't want to.
You know,
And it was in the church that this marriage was
Imagine.
consummated. So when people get to that point where they know that the church does not have the capacity to help their situation, they help themselves.
That's the thing. The church usually doesn't have any
Now,
capacity to help in
remember
such situations.
at some point, the church said, Redeemed Christian Church of God said they were going to conduct tests to ensure that the man can perform. Some people said they were going to go to court because it's not in the place of the church to do that. What does the church do? So even the church, like I said, has lost grip of those things. It can't act on them again. It is good that you don't just go around sowing your wild oats, just eating ladies. But at the same time, can the church help it? Can the church stop it? I've asked myself the question. I have 3 girls. Do I want them to suffer that kind of fate?
Exactly.
Where they get married, and because they did brother and sister, we now find out that this guy cannot perform, or that he's impotent, or that he's not fertile, and cannot father a child.
Yes.
Because they won't say, they won't come out to say anything. So what do you do? And that is the position from where some people are coming to say, yes, Dr. Olukoya, you're on spot. But some of these things can't be implemented in this day and time.
And I'm sorry to cut you. You know that even before, I don't know if it was before Christianity, but or even now, I'm sure there are some people that still practice it. There are some traditions, even up till now, that, you know, if you are going to get married, they will tell you that, sorry, we have to test. You know, we have to test. Either from the man's side, they will say, oh, the woman has to get pregnant before we get, so that we know that she's fertile, and not that when we now bring her to the house. And then there are some traditions that I've even heard from some parts of Africa, maybe East Africa or something. This tradition, the elder sister of the bride would go ahead and sleep with the groom to make sure that, yes, he is capable before he now gets married to the younger or to the bride. You know, so what I'm just trying to say is that we had our traditions, these things, that
might seem
that
extreme.
Was working.
Yes, it might seem extreme, but people do a lot of things. And then the other part I also want to stress, where the church also will not have control over, is that our tradition makes it imperative for a woman to be able to take care of the home. And one of the things they talk about in the home is cooking. Most of the ladies we are bringing up now,
they can't cook.
They can't do anything. Life. So if you don't go in for them to spend some time together,
exactly,
how do you know that?
Not even only cooking. How do you know she can take care of the house?
That's what I'm saying. That generally,
these days,
you can even stick this person. For instance, when I was younger, as a bachelor, once I open my door, the first thing is to fling my shoe anywhere in the house. My wife ate that thing. If she has that way, she will behead somebody over it. How do you know the kind of behaviors that I have?
Exactly. How do I know whether you flush the toilet when you are done?
Yes.
There are plenty things.
I tell people these days, I have all girls. I live in a girls' hostel. Even when I pee, I will take tissue.
Yes, so
even when I see that I didn't pee on this, I will take tissue. Because the kind of things, hey, daddy, you have come here.
You know,
I've learned it over the years. In the last 20, 25 years, it has become a part of me. Clean the toilet seats. Even when I'm looking and I see that nothing has fallen there.
To be sure.
So, You won't know a lot of these things. And these are the kind of things that bring tension in the homes.
Yes.
That is why you see a church says, and we ask them all the questions, but they didn't have that experience.
They did, yeah, exactly. And then, of course,
watching themselves
when they are trying to be good, they are trying to be good. But once you are married, they know that, I'm married, and then they let loose. Exactly. That's when you begin to see the real person.
Practicing what you already know before marriage, it becomes easier. For instance, somebody says or meets a man in church, meets a lady in church, and all you do is you go to their house when the mommy and daddy, when they are there. You people, you don't go out, you don't do anything. How do you know whether that person is sanguine, is this, is that?
Yeah, you don't know the
whether that
of the person
even is a giver. Because we have established it. Forget about religion. You cannot love somebody without giving. No. You must be able to give. That is the essence of love.
Exactly. If you love somebody, you will even want to give. So, and
in some cases, one party, because they didn't have the time to even mix. One party keeps doing. They go to eatery, while the other one is struggling, behaving as if the pocket is farther than what they are saying. One comes, pace. And then the reality will dawn on that person after getting married, because they always advise short courtship so that you don't lose interest in yourself, that this person doesn't have the spirit of giving. It's only taking. There are so many things are wrong now. The church itself needs to help. It has to develop, whether it is a curriculum, especially for churches who are now doing Bible teachings and all. You don't bring up somebody, or you don't teach somebody during the so-called counseling session for marriage how to live a good life. It's not possible, even if you take 1 year to do it. You have to build it into a curriculum that the church will be teaching during Sunday services. These are the expectations of people. If you have problem, you wake up in the morning as a man and this thing does not rise.
Before, even people in courtship, you are together with the person you are intending to marry, and at no point did the thing rise.
Some people, at that point,
at no point did the thing rise.
A lot of people know. They know. But you begin to teach them the essence of being faithful, of being truthful. Because that is what we always lose. We now see somebody who is 32 as a man, now runs to your church because he wants to. You suddenly see him show up. He becomes bro. Somebody, you make that person maybe go through 4 years of tutelage under you before you can take sister. And sister to who runs in, you make sure they go through that training so that you build a complete human being, and not the ones that we build now who want to take advantage of the system that you have provided, because everybody sees the church as a refuge. That is why people are against some of these things. We must run. You must come and live with me for about 3 or 6 months. Let's know ourselves.
It just makes sense.
Really. That's why these things have been questioned. But they are not questioning God's laws. They're only questioning the behaviors of humans who have made God's law
besides
susceptible
thinking about it now, even then, when these laws were made, so a lot of things have changed, because then people used to marry early. I think even the females, even the males, they used to marry early, 15, 16. They are, as once they are teenagers,
20 for a man.
Yes, they already.
Once they even have their farms.
Yes, they already established. 18 men
are married.
They're married. They're starting their families, But now, with the way the country.
So it is a big deal. It's a big deal that
people are becoming grandfathers in their parents' home. Then they used to marry life is in stages, and once a child is in that adolescent age, teenage age, when their hormones are raging, that is when they say marry. marry so that, you don't start misbehaving and all that. But now,
and just disvirgining people around town. Like Pastor Olukoya said.
But now people are there, 25, 30.
Even the economy is not helping them.
What do you want them to do?
Even the economy.
What do you want them to do? How do you want them to survive the agros and everything?
I'm saying the church must build a complete human being. Teach them how to make money, teach them what to do, so that even they are setting out in life very early. And ensure that you put not somebody who shows up at 30 something because he wants to get married in your church.
Yes, and you too.
And then you have seen one sister or brother who is getting late in getting married, and then you just
join them together. And then when they start having problems, there's nothing you can do about it. There's really no help that you give them.
Nothing.
Except, it is where it is where. And then you can't divorce.
People who are grounded, you will find out that it will be difficult for them to go their separate ways. Because they are grounded. They know the teachings that all of these things you are going through, it's just a phase. It's just a phase. But those who just rush in because my mates are getting married, they run into trouble easily. So the church has a lot of work to do. It goes beyond standing on the pulpit and saying this.
Exactly.
We should also help these people who are into this. They need to understand what those people who do it, why they do it, and address those concerns. I agree with Pastor Olukoya. You should not just be grabbing girls left and right, and like I said, grabbing men too, left and right, because women too do it. Before people
can
will
men
say,
be grabbed? It's men that want to be grabbed.
You people also rape men now.
I don't know about that.
You rape men.
Men are willing, so
no.
You call it rape.
In this country, we've read the story, real life. They were arrested. 3 sisters who tied the man down and were raping him for 3, 4, 5 days.
Okay, tell me now, those sisters, what happened to them? This is part of the
because they are claiming that.
This is part of what we are saying.
Yes, it's part of what we are saying, because they are claiming that the man slept with all of them without the other person. Meaning that even they were not talking to themselves. How will you have a sister who will not tell you, I'm going out with this person?
I'm seeing this person.
Does that not speak volume to what we are saying? It's still part
of what we are saying, yes, now, because I want to be the one to, it's even possible that secretly they were not, because I want to be the one to catch now.
Yes,
because men
and then they now lock the man up for 1 week. Even if I was the man, I wouldn't have courage to go to the police station.
Exactly.
He still went shamelessly to go and report that they raped him. When you were having all of them, what were you thinking? They now knew and brought you and tied you down. And they were feeding you.
It's still the same thing now.
They were feeding you. They were feeding you with what will make the thing stand and getting on you. That's a big one for me.
So that's not really you. In fact, I don't know why I went to police station, because it's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not really an offense.
In fact, if I was the officer on duty, I would first have thrown him into the guard and said, just you came and reported this kind of thing. Just stay there. It's becoming worse. And we are getting to a situation where, whether it is the church or the various Islamic organizations, if they don't step up their acts,
the religious institutions,
we are going to, even the traditional ones, too, must work on it.
Yes.
They are going to miss it, and we are going to be in huge trouble. Because what we are doing now is that we are just piling up the wood and the petrol, mixing them, and the lighter is just standing somewhere, because that's what we are doing.
And then you also, that the narrative, there's even this narrative that is going about everywhere, that there are too many women. The men are not enough for the women. 1 man, 7 women. This is even making the men say, okay, it's help. Let me help.
That's because
they are helping all the women now.
That's because people are not looking where they should be looking at. They are women. They are men, but the men are running away from marriage.
You see? Why are they running away?
Economy. I told you that it's a mixture. It's a mixture of what the country is, decadence of morality, the role of parenting, Remember, we spoke about that earlier. And then the place of religious institutions.
But there's also, there's also the place of change, because the world now is not what the world used to be.
Yes, but if we had tackled all of those issues, we won't get to that place of change. And what do I mean by that? If in this country, a man who is 18 or 20, or let's say 25, because these days want to go to school, if that man has done his service here and is making money, he can get married. Have you noticed that when people get out of school, most of the ladies that they came out of school with don't marry any of their mates. They marry men who are older because they want security. In the days of yore, you find out that people who are close to themselves in ages, who are playmates, they get married.
Yes.
But now you find out that I'm almost 5 years older than my wife. I know couple who are 7-10 years the husband older than the wife. Why? Because when the husband comes out, when the man comes out of school, he has to walk and wait. The lady is coming out of school and she knows that age is catching up with her. So she's not looking at the man they went to school together before.
Because he's not ready now.
He's not ready. Even the man too is afraid.
Exactly.
She has to find her mate while the guy waits for his own mate. If all of those factors were in there, was it not in this country that they told us that before people write their final examination, companies are bringing cars to give them in school? That is you
and
that
they are getting jobs even before leaving school.
Yes, I said it's not about getting jobs. They are bringing cars to them to drive to resume their job that they have not even, when they have not even finished schooling. I recollect that in 1986, my dad bought a Pojo when he was in Abuja, brand new from Kaduna, 6,500 naira. Brand new. So those were good days when people can say, we are in school together. Oh yeah, follow me. Let me go and marry you as we finish. It's not like now. Now, you need to work for so many years before you can even think of. And that is why I said the church will do a lot of things. Groom people before they even come out of school. Which businesses can you be doing while in school? What are the ways out? What are this? How can you achieve this? And ensure that before your libido takes over your life, you have money.
You know that there's one part that we are not. There's also the parents' part. You know, these days we are very indulgent of the children. It's not like the way it was back then. That as you know, that's 18, 19, 20. Whether you are farming, whether you are doing something, but these days, you know, the children, they are just laid back because they know mommy is there, daddy is there, you know, and they just relax. They are not in a hurry to get their lives together, you know.
That's why I agreed with what you said, that things have changed. In those days, children will always do holiday jobs. You won't come home and during your long holiday, you sit back at home. You go to your mommy's shop or you go to your daddy's factory and you work to earn some money. These days, child labor has crept in. And I agree with them. Sometimes we also say to ourselves, these children need to rest their brains. The kind of tasks that they go through in school. So we are indulging them, not necessarily because we want to spoil them, but because the times are changing. And I also agree with you that parents are also becoming lax in their duties completely. Because some, they can see their children. For instance, there was a day I went to the US Embassy with my girls. And then one of them, there was like a pavement that is out from the window of the person interviewing us, where you can keep your passport to sleep in. And then she went and put her head under, like she was going to injure herself. And I told her, I said, I'm going to smack you if you do that again. And the man interviewed me, asked me, did you just say you are going to smack her? I said, yes, I'm going to smack her. This is Nigeria. You can't put bills on me, unnecessary one. Meaning that if it was if he was the one, that child would have been allowed to injure herself. And then the next thing you're going to do is they call emergency. I want to call 911. I want to stop it from happening. But we are right that we indulge them a lot. That's why you find children who even come out of school and they are telling you they cannot work because their father has money.
Yes, now. And they'll be collecting allowance.
Yes. And that is the kind of life they want to live until they die. Until when you show them that there is a place for work in life. I agree with you completely. But then we still need to grow an all-round. We need to grow all-round children. People who are versatile in all aspects, who can work, who can play, who can relate with people, not animals. I told my own girls, I said, when you bring a man home, that is the day you will see the other side of me. Because the moment you now tell me that I want to get married, I will first request that even if it is the yam powder, the electric one, go and pound yam for me. Go and cook vegetable. Go and do this. Because I must be able to say that you are not going to disgrace me where you are going. Maybe till now, I know they cook. But I always say, go and learn through your mom. But when you tell me that you are now ready, then we now start. Because it's a process. You won't go there and they say, I'm be telling your husband, I've put your pancake and or your Indomie and fried egg. You are going to do certain things. They are coming up well, but I'm just saying that's the way we speak in the house. That's the way we speak, so that you are sure that they can do basic things. And sometimes I just go to their room. I seldom do it. If that day they are unlucky, that is the day that they just scatter their clothes, it's fights to finish. They know. So, but like I said earlier, parents leave the house at 5 a.m. Some leave the house at 5 a.m., especially in this our Lagos. And they don't return until 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, when they are tired and still need to leave at 5 a.m. again. So a lot of things here and there. But the church has a role to play.
God help us.
Amen.
So, sir, we have heard you. We are not disagreeing, but we are saying that the church has a lot of work to do, like he has said. So it's not just about proclaiming. Of course, we know what the Bible says and what is expected, but we need to put in the work and make sure that it is, that's what we have said is upheld, that it works. It's not just in saying it, but it's in practical, that it actually does work. And for the people that hormones are raging, for the men that are saying there are 7 women to a man.
Stop that.
Dear, stop that.
Because very soon, the women too will say there are 7 men to a woman.
Oh well. Oh well. Okay, so that's all we have for you today. Don't forget to like and share, and also subscribe so you get notifications when we come out with new videos like this. And follow us on all our social media handles at The Eagle Online. And we'll be back with more updates. Thank you.